Hey, welcome back. I'll keep the music nice and low, and we'll be sure to kill it. We have a... Did any of you guys guess the mystery guest? Sure you did. Welcome back, everybody. We're glad to see you. Got some new people in here. We've got somebody on YouTube named Fans of the Green Bay Packers. How do you get that name? Fans of the Green Bay Packers.
Because they're...
Welcome. Why do you want to ban the tush push? Why do you want to do that? You're the only one. You got to learn how to stop it.
I don't think there's a way to stop it. I think that's why they want to ban it.
Though then, would they want to ban it if every team had their own tush push?
And it could be Green Bay's way. They may think it's not going to get banned, but we'll be the one team that brings it up to get us attention. I don't know. You know,
see, I think that's smart because, like we've been talking about, there's no bad press. I think that is very smart.
It just brings some sort of attention to Green Bay Packers, and then it causes conversation, and then it's like, that's the thing. Like, so many people manipulate the media nowadays just because it's free press, free publicity. So you say some shit.
Okay, Melissa, who we love. Hi, Melissa. Good to see you. She says ban the name tush push.
But then they brotherly shove is just, I mean, it's worse.
What would the Dolphins be if the Dolphins had one? It'd be
the hawk to it.
Okay, I like that. What would Atlanta's be? Twerk. Use a hoe. Ludicrous.
28-3.
It doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't.
It's got to hurt a little.
No, it doesn't.
It hurt me till death. If I was watching the Dolphins and I was
hurt.
like, they're winning the Super Bowl. Then
it doesn't hurt. It hurts more that you were like, look at this. Aren't you celebrating? You're like, I'll never forget that text.
Yeah.
The fin pin. Okay, Shred Bear said for the Dolphins it'd be the fin pin. The foul
Tua
con.
would just knock himself out on his own offensive line.
The dump thump. Put your name for the tush push in the chat room. I'll read them all. Yeah, supposedly our guest today to remember tomorrow's going to be live calls, live call Thursday, which is really taking on a life of its own. People love live call Thursdays. And, but yeah, we're supposed to have at 1:45, so in about 10 minutes, we're supposed to have Howie Mandel. That'll be good. That'll be cool. I didn't realize how old he is. He looks good. Would you ever, if you started losing your hair, which I don't think you will, but if you did, would you bick your hair?
You know, Howie Mandel's, he never loses. It wasn't because he was losing his hair.
Is it a
because
germ
of cleaner,
thing? Yeah.
That's what he says. But now I'm thinking.
But it looks good on him, is my point.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to. I don't want the bozo. The bozo has become ridiculous.
What about a hair, fake hair?
No, I would never do fake hair.
What about? I think I would do the fake hair.
I'd do the transplant.
That's what I mean. That's what.
Yeah. Well, that's not a wig.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Not a wig.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd do the transplant.
The medical hair restoration.
Yeah.
What I mean.
Tons of celebrities do that, and it looks unbelievable.
Oh, SJ, that's exactly what I was going to ask him about. I wrote that down. Bobby's World, the cartoon. That was such a big cartoon. We all loved that cartoon. And I was today years old, and I hate it when people say that, when I learned that he was the voice of Gizmo from Gremlins. I didn't know that. I don't know why I didn't know that, but I did not know that. And he's voiced it all the way up until like Lego games where, let's say like Lego, what's the one with it? Lego Worlds. He voiced Gizmo in 2015. So
did Gizmo talk or did he just make noises?
Yeah, he goes like, yeah, stuff like that.
But he just makes like a baby talk.
Every once in a while, I think he might eke out a word.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's like
I don't know. Yeah.
You'd never notice it was Howie Mandel, you know.
But I think I should have, right? Isn't that a big deal? That he's the forever voice of Gizmo from Gremlins? Isn't that a bigger deal? Or that's a big deal. That's an iconic. He could. Okay, my point is he could tour the nation just on the popularity of that movie and that character at a con. He could. Gremlins is huge.
It is huge. Although it's like the Affleck duck. When someone can mimic it exactly, and then you're like, oh, okay, it's the same thing, then it's, you know.
I think about that guy all the time, the Affleck guy that took over for Gilbert Gottfried when they did the contest. I think about that guy all the time. All the time. I'll see him on the commercial, and I'll be like, you're not as good.
It's the same noise.
No, not as good. People are, did you get, Little Monsters? Yeah, Little Monsters was great, too. Melissa, you didn't know that either? Like, tell me you didn't know that, please, so it'll make me feel a little bit better, because honestly, I had no idea. All right. Conway J says, I watched half of that movie under the seat in the theater, clutching to my Gizmo doll my mom had bought me before the movie. I do remember, like, the movies that were considered kid movies back in the day went harder. They did. Like, when a character transformed into something, there was, like, some guts and bubbling and some screams.
Yeah, there was no computer animation, so they had to use practical
effects,
puppeteering, and claymation.
Yeah, puppets are terrifying.
Although I could show my sons Gremlins right now, and they'd probably laugh at it. Because they laugh at, like, old school,
like the corniness of it, right?
Yeah. Because they laugh how
because their brains watch different stuff. Like it's like how we felt when we watched Land of the Lost. I bet that hurt my dad's feelings when I was like, "This is shit,"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, he thought it was cool." It's just passing it down. Every generation does the same thing. Yeah, the Stripe, that was the main gremlin, right? The main bad gremlin?
Yeah.
Stripe. He had the white hair on the top. I remember you could collect those. I want to say at Burger King you could collect gremlins. All right, 5 minute warning. Donnie Criddle. Welcome to the show, Donnie.
Me and Daniel were just talking, and then this is something we're obviously not going to talk to Howie Mandel about, but we were looking up Howie Mandel's net worth, and then just from interviews in his podcast, he's like, he made $60 million. He's almost 70 years old. He owns, like, some people on his other podcast talk about how many buildings and real estate he owns. And so
he's doing 5 dates in Florida.
He's still touring around doing stand-up, and we were wondering why. It has to be for the love of it.
Double Deck. There you go. We got a fan in here. He says, I think Howie Mandel on Ice is one of the best stand-up specials ever, and it never gets the credit it deserves. Huh. Christine chiming in, Gremlins to this day is my favorite Christmas movie. I very much enjoyed Gremlins. I enjoyed the girl guy love story, Mogwai in a backpack aspect of it. The second Gremlins movie is a fever dream. Hulk Hogan breaks the fourth wall and talks to the audience in it. Nobody knew how he felt about the Blizz Piz back then. That's funny. Still haven't yet to taste one of those Hulk Hogan All-American lagers. Probably never will, right? It'll come and go before I try one.
It's just a lager.
It's just a shitty beer.
It tastes Yingling. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, Yingling's good. I haven't had
I bet you because it's some local craft beer brewery that makes it for them.
I don't think it's local craft beer. I think it's a big deal. It's a global brand.
Or some company like Yingling probably just like, oh, we'll brew this and and they're having your own beer there's zero.
It used to be a big deal.
Yeah. I don't think it doesn't move the needle anymore, right? No one's like, whoa, he's got his own beer. Like anybody, literally anyone.
We're jaded about it, certainly, because we've had our own. But yeah, I think there's some people that if they got one, they'd be like, oh man.
I guess if it depends on
Mike from Mike's Weather Page still gets pretty pumped when he rolls out one of his beers, I'll say.
Yeah.
He's pretty pumped about it.
But other people, they're not impressed by it, are they?
I mean, I feel like you're not.
Because it's easy enough to do.
No, Depends on what it is.
You could partner with a...
Like, if we did 40-ounce beers, I'd be impressed again. If we did Tom and Dan 40-ounce malt liquor beverages with a real label on it, and we could actually sell them, that'd be badass.
We could do it at a local brewery, but...
It's got to be in the real 40. It's got to be canned, ice cold, all stacked up in a fridge like a Dr. Dre video. Personally, I think that'd be pretty cool.
If we got them into 7-Eleven, but that's the impossible part. We could sell them locally, but I could make a deal with any.
It's just too much work. It would be so much work just getting the bottles that we would need to do it. Everything's so much work now. I can still got to talk to the barbecue sauce man. That's been months. He's always texting me. He's like, I got all the sauces. I'm ready to go. The original sauce man. 40 ounces to mediocrity. Yeah, we could do but yeah, it's like I don't even think people are really drinking that much anymore, right? So it's not even that's another reason why I don't think it's super popular right now. I've even see some of my favorite breweries cutting down on the amount of beers they release a week. It used to be like you get 2, 3, 4 different beers a week. You might even be lucky if you get one now. Two-minute warning. Let me check my email to make sure there haven't been any last-minute changes.
Because we're waiting, he's not going to call in.
Yeah, probably. Probably. That's the way it usually works. I don't get mad about that anymore, though. I just feel like it's a shot. Donnie is drinking right now, he says. The only reason he caught the live stream. What are you drinking, Donnie? What's your poison today? Let's guess. You guess. What do you think Donnie's drinking?
Drinking at 1:40 on a Wednesday?
It might be his day off. Day drinking's fun. I bet you're drinking just a cheap light beer. That's what I think you're drinking. Put it out there before you throw your guess in the chat room. Miller Lite. Oh, no, that's somebody guessing. Oh, he said Coors Light. That would be probably my 130 beer of choice. What is it, a 4.2%? A nice watery lager. What's your favorite White Claw now, Tom? Still the lime?
Nah, I never really had a favorite.
Have they rolled out any more flavors?
Yeah, they have a sour apple.
I don't think I've had that.
Hello, Tom and Dan. How you doing, Howie? I'm going to put you on hold, and we'll get to the interview right now. All right, hold on 1 second.
Howie, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you okay.
Awesome. All right. Well, okay is better than bad, so we'll get rolling right now. Thanks for the time, man. We appreciate it. Here we go.
I thank you.
And 3, 2.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Let's not waste any time. We have a very, very special guest on the line. And let me give you the full rundown because he's hitting Florida and he's hitting Florida hard.
Yep.
Friday, March 7th at Ruth Eckerd Hall in Clearwater. You may see this guest. Sunday, March 9th at Hard Rock Live in Orlando. Beautiful venue right here in the heart of Orlando. Monday, March 10th at Wells Hall at the Parker at Fort Lauderdale. Tuesday, March 11th at the King Center in Melbourne. March 12th, that's a Wednesday, the Tracy Performing Arts Center in Somerville, Florida. And again, Thursday, March 13th at Thrasher Horn Center in Orange Park, Florida.
And you can get all tickets at HowieMandel.com.
Scoop them up.
On the line with us is Howie Mandel. How you doing, Howie?
What a coincidence. I will say that the first day I have to postpone. The Clearwater date I'm going to postpone and probably do in May.
Okay.
Just because we are starting the 20th season of AGT, and I have to tape that day, and they just changed the schedule, and so I got to postpone that. But all the rest of the Florida dates are still in line with everything that you just said, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be in the state and also doing stand-up comedy, which is my favorite thing in the world to do, and that's what got me all the other stuff that I have done.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're the busiest person I think we've talked to in a very long time.
Yeah, and since you brought it up, Howie, AGT, I've thought about this because of AGT and Deal or No Deal. Are you numb to being a part of the most important moment in normal people's lives?
No, that's what I loved about it. That in these moments on AGT and when somebody does well on Deal or No Deal, I'm in the room and standing feet from somebody whose life changes forever. So, no, I never get numb to that, and that's why I love doing it. That being said, I also love, I feel like I'm a witness to that and really not part of it and just lucky to be there and on and spewing whatever it is that I spew. But stand-up comedy, I get to be myself in the real and get an immediate reaction. But I also should point out that because people know me from AGT and Deal or No Deal, which are traditionally great family shows, don't bring the kids to my live shows because I don't really edit myself. And I'm also, and I've been telling this to people, I'm also much better looking in person, and it scares people. So don't bring the children.
Yeah, I mean, you've been covering some spicy stuff on your podcast, and so, I mean, you've never been known as, you can work fully clean. I mean, you've always kind of just gone wherever you wanted to go, correct?
I think I'm a responsible broadcaster. So if I know where I am and I know who that audience is, so, I will, kind of edit myself. But traditionally, the true raw me has no edit. I mean, I do have been diagnosed with not only OCD but ADHD. So I am very in the moment. Sometimes to my own, I was asked to leave school. I don't have a GED. Everything I've ever been punished for, expelled for, gotten in trouble for is what I seem to get paid for. It works for comedy.
Gotcha.
Better than it works in broadcast television. And I get to, as you just said, on my podcast that I do with my daughter, Howie Mandel Does Stuff, and also the one I do with Harland Williams, who also lives in Florida part-time, called When a Stranger Calls. We get to just unedited, unabashed, kind of just react to whatever is in front of us.
Harlan's been in here a couple of times. He's the nicest man. He gave our kids his children's book. He's just such a good dude. And then when his cartoon came out with
Puppy Dog Pals,
Puppy Dog Pals, he sent us some signed copies. I still have mine. It's cool that you get to work with these type of people and then dip your toe into something, like I said, spicier, but then also roll it back and do the regular America's Got Talent, family friendly stuff.
Right. I like that I get to do, and it keeps each of the things that I do fresh and new to me. You know what I mean? If you have to go to the same place and do the same thing all the time, listen, whatever I do is not boring, but it's even more exciting because I get to leave it and come back to it. But there is nothing more exciting for me than stand-up comedy. It really is in the moment. It's terrifying, it's exciting, it's thrilling, it's fun, it's an escape. And that's what the people should show up for, just to escape, life for a while and laugh. I look at it like a giant party, and I'm just trying to be the center of attention.
Well, Howie, let's talk about OCD for a second, because you are one of the first people in my memory that started, especially celebrities, that started talking openly about this. And I feel
I have a variation of it. We talk about it on our show. And
anxiety.
It's in my medical chart, too. So.
And you were talking about it before anybody seemed to be talking about it. And I wonder how...
Well, that was really hard. That was an accident. I didn't intend on it. I wrote a book a few years ago, my autobiography, and I talked about how that happened. I was on a radio show, not unlike this. I was on the Howard Stern show, and they were playing a joke on me because they knew I wouldn't touch the door handle. And I thought we were in a commercial, and I said, hey, I've been diagnosed and I'm about to pass out, and I have something called OCD. When I realized that we weren't in a commercial and it was actually broadcast, I was devastated, but later learned that the fact that I, unsealed this secret that I was carrying, this burden, I felt more comfort in knowing that other people also suffer from it. And they came up to me and said, I too, that was great that you talked about it. So I've learned since that and made it a mission to try to help remove the stigma by being open about it and talking about it and telling people if you even have an inkling that you have this issue, you should talk about it to loved ones, to caregivers. And I partnered with a company. This is not a commercial for them, but NOCD. NOCD is an app now. So if you think that you have it or somebody you know has had it, you can download this app, which is covered by all the insurance companies, and arrange for an expert in OCD to maybe get a diagnosis. And if you do have it, you can also arrange for people to come and whatever you need.
Sure,
if you need to talk to an expert, a therapist, they can arrange it. And now everybody has access to it because it's on an app, whereas you don't have to live in New York or LA or Miami or Orlando to, you could be out in the outskirts. It's a huge problem, mental health, and I believe we need to take care of our mental health the way we take care of our dental health.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
100%.
Without a doubt. Again, Howie Mandel's on the line with us. HowieMandel.com. Get your tickets. He's going to be,
a bunch of places in Florida. If you live in Florida.
6 Florida dates for you.
Howie, has it helped you yourself deal with it by talking about it? Because I know we talk about it on the show, and it helped Daniel deal with his anxiety, and it actually makes him feel better talking about it.
Yeah, you think by shutting up and trying to push it down you're going to feel better. You don't. And you can even make yourself physically sick by holding that anxiety and everything in. So, yes, talking about it is the first step. I'm not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing. I'm not giving you a remedy. But I will tell you as a patient, talking about it, and everybody else I've talked to that has talked about it says they feel better talking about it. And that's how you source and kind of communicate that maybe you need help.
Yeah, you've done so many firsts. Another first he did was I remember you being the first celebrity that I knew of, or at least stand-up comedian, who had his own cartoon show. Like when you had Bobby's World, I mean, that was such a big show, big instrumental part of my life. The chat room's going crazy talking about it, all the different voices, Muppet Babies and all that kind of stuff.
That's our demographic.
Yeah, do you realize when you're doing that stuff and in the moment how big and how successful and how nostalgia just rich that type of stuff is when you're in the moment doing it?
Well, you don't know nostalgia when you're in the moment. Nostalgia is something you remember. So,
right, of course, but I mean,
nobody is more surprised. Yeah, but any success that I have now, nobody is more surprised, excited, and thrilled to be part of it than me. In the moment, even my career as a stand-up, it was a dare to get up on stage. It wasn't something I was aspiring to be. When I got asked to do a Saturday morning cartoon, I didn't know anything about Saturday morning. That voice and Bobby was a character that I did in my stand-up act, and it wasn't family friendly. So yeah, it's amazing, and I look back each and every day at anything that I've done or that I'm doing. Like even now on AGT, we're going into our 20th season. I've been on the show for 15 years. Yeah. It's crazy to think that these things and are not only remembered, not only going on, but are a part of people's lives. So yes is the answer.
Well, Howie, let's talk about your podcast for a second. Howie Mandel Does Stuff. You host it with your daughter Jacqueline. Your son actually works behind the scenes as well, which it's an amazing thing because this is my dream to someday work with my sons in some sort of capacity. Yeah. It's amazing to me, and I really enjoy that you do this. But I have to ask you about the Bill Burr episode because it made internet rounds. The social media went crazy.
People are still discussing it on Reddit right now.
And obviously, I'm not going to insult.
They are.
Yeah, I'm not going to insult.
I mean, and here's the thing. I feel bad. I've apologized. I thought I was doing something funny and good. He got mad at me, but that happens. Dana White walked off my show. And I still don't understand why. There's always somebody when you reach an audience that is going to get angry. Last week I had Adam Ray's Dr. Phil on talking to the girl that slept with 1,057 men in 12
Body
hours.
Blue. Yeah, we're familiar.
And that's a show I did with Bonnie Blue, yes.
Yeah.
Bonnie Blue and me, my daughter and I talk to Bonnie Blue.
That's insane.
When do you get a chance to do that?
Yeah,
it's insane. But I love, it's fun. It's sometimes cringy. It's sometimes exciting, but it's always exciting. And I get to have my family around, and I get to, do what other people only dream of doing, and that's what's exciting for me.
Well, Howie, I'm so impressed because you're talking about, like, sometimes it's uncomfortable, and, like, you watch that episode, and it makes me want to hide under my desk at a certain point when Bill Burr and Billy Corgan are talking to each other.
The
I'm
body
like,
language is odd.
So
I left. I walked out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well,
I didn't know that.
You saw the episode. I left for about 15 minutes. I was so uncomfortable. I didn't know what to do. I just got up and left. But it's what happens. You don't know what's going to happen. Next week we have some amazing guests coming on. All my podcasts. I do a podcast now with Harland Williams.
Yeah.
Called When a Stranger Calls. And we don't know what people are going to do. Some of it is incredibly uncomfortable. Some of it is incredibly funny. Some of it is, I just like. Here's what I like, and it's really apparent in my stand-up. I like to not know. I like to not know what's going to happen and not be. I like discomfort. I love roller coasters. I love thrill rides. And when whatever I'm doing on stage or on a show or on a podcast feels like a thrill ride, that's kind of fun for me.
I like that too. Oh my God, I like that.
You are a born host, obviously for lots of reasons because you're insanely good at it. But I think that's another reason because it's funny, Howie. Because as a person that doesn't like uncomfortability, I watch your episode and I think to myself, "Oh, Howie planned this. This is all Bill Burr's in on it.
Oh, everybody's saying that. Yeah. For all of them, he planned all of them.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is all behind the scenes plan. There's no way he did this for real because I'm thinking like, how could he stand the uncomfortability? But you're saying that you're fine with it.
Yeah, in fact, this week's episode right now, I mean, and I'm getting some blowback because of it, no pun intended, but we put Bonnie Blue back on because she said she would come on.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is I have this friend Lou, and Lou is very conservative, and he's on my show, sometimes co-hosting, but not a lot, but he's there.
Yeah.
We didn't tell, the whole thing is never told him, he doesn't know who Bonnie Blue is. He's not really on social media. He doesn't know what she's famous for. And it's just fun to sit there, and I say that at the beginning of the podcast. Me and my daughter are going to continue to interview Bonnie Blue and just watch Lou deal with the fact of he doesn't know who she is.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand that she's a celebrity, and come to the realization of what she does. And then once she does what she does, watch how uncomfortable this guy is. And for me, that's like, if anybody's the most entertained person, and I would imagine it's probably terrible to say that because the listeners and the watchers, I want you to be entertained. Nobody's more entertained than me. Just watching him squirm and be so uncomfortable. Even after the episode, he came up to me and goes, "Why would you do that? Why would you not?" He's so angry with me. I keep saying, Lou, it's hysterical. It's hysterical just watching you sit beside somebody and not know who they are and then realize who they are and just be so uncomfortable. Discomfort is what I'm most comfortable with. I grew up watching Candid Camera and Alan Funt, and I just love when, even for myself, when I'm in a situation that I have no idea what's going to happen. And that's what I try to create even when I come and do stand-up. When I come and do stand-up, obviously I have 40 or 50 years of material that I can pull on. I love when I'm pulled off of that. I don't mind a technical glitch. I don't mind when people are doing something unexpected in the audience. Gotcha. I don't mind when people yell out. I don't mind. I like that. I like when people come up to me after 5 years and go, "I was there the night where the lady with the red hat released the bird into the theater." Yeah. I like that.
So it seems, Howie, that you, like, just from watching you for so many years and seeing and watching your interviews and watching your podcasts, it seems like your brain constantly just tries to find what's funny about things. And I feel like that's, not all comedians have that. We've interviewed a lot of comedians before, and I see the ones that our brains are just perfectly suited for comedy.
Sure.
And I feel like your brain is that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, but it's more about, it goes back to my mental health. I love distraction. And if I had to recite or there was something planned and I learned it, and when you do something by rote, when you do something that's planned, then your mind can go other places. The fact that I'm always distracted and you can, away from thinking and getting deep into the dark annals of my mind, it's just not. That's what I do. So this is my form of survival, and I love it. And I'm lucky that it pays the rent, and I'm lucky that my family wants to be around me while I pay the rent, and we all want to contribute together. So I feel like a lucky guy, and I feel like really lucky that I get to come to Florida. I love my time in Florida. It was the only place. I'm from Toronto, Canada. That was my one vacation place. My family used to drive down there every year. And I thought that one day I would live there. I didn't know that I was going to be in show business and I would end up in California. But I love Florida. I love the people of Florida. And the fact that I get to go there and do the thing that I love most is something that I look forward to. I hope they enjoy it as much as I do.
Oh, I know they will, man. And you're doing a lot of dates. I mean, you're not slowing down at all, right? I mean, I saw your work.
No, I don't. I can't slow down. If I slow down, I'm never going to slow down. I will be forced to slow down. So people won't invite me. People won't buy tickets. People won't hire me. That's how I'll slow down. I will never make the effort to not show up.
I love that.
So, and speaking of that, because we all do the math, Howie. You've had a insanely successful career. You've been working in entertainment for over 40 years. Gigantic shows. We all have the internet. We could see Celebrity Net Worth, and then you see you're still traveling doing stand up, and it made me think. I was like, Howie's love for stand up and love for this art is greater than, because think of it, you are a doctor.
Oh, I don't do anything. I don't do anything for money. I don't do anything for I do it because I love it and because I can do it, and because people are inviting me to do it and people are enjoying it. And what a treat! And I'm a lucky guy, And if you had told me to bet on the fact that first day, April 19th, 1977. When I got dared, I went to a comedy club as an audience member, and they dared me to get up on stage, the people at my table, because they were doing amateurs at midnight. If you would tell me that this many years later, almost 50 years later, that I'd still be talking to a radio station about my dates and coming there, I would have bet against it. Nobody's more surprised than me, and I love it, and I'll do it as long as I get invited. And I haven't always been successful. Right before Deal or No Deal in 2005, I was ready to quit. I was going to quit it. I wasn't selling tickets. Nobody was inviting me. I couldn't get parts. I had just been turned down for a pilot. I have other businesses that I do. I'm in production and on other people's stuff, and I dabble in real estate and other things. So I said, well, I'm just not going to. People aren't interested in seeing me anymore. People aren't interested in hiring me anymore. I'm just going to quit. And then I got the offer for Deal or No Deal, which is probably one of the biggest single successes in my career.
Yeah. And is it true that you?
So there's ups and downs all the time.
Is it true that you almost turned down that Deal or No Deal deal?
Yeah, it's the only thing. I always say yes to everything, but that was the one thing I didn't get it. An hour. First of all, in 2005, comedians weren't game show hosts, and it was the lowest rung on the. You'd make fun of a game show host rather than. And then the game that was offered to me, I didn't understand it. I didn't read. There was no trivia. There was no skill. How am I going to stand there, and for an hour and just say, open the case, pick a case, open the case, pick a case, open the case? I didn't even see the game of it, but my wife did. My wife's a lot smarter than me. And she said, just take the deal. And I was kind of depressed. I was in a really low spot in my career and in my life. And she said, you just need to get out and be busy, and it'll be, if nothing else, we'll get a distraction. Somebody's calling you. Somebody wants you to work, and she made me do it. And it took I was so embarrassed even after I did it. I didn't even see it from the inside. When I knew it was going to air, I flew out of the country to a place with no TV and no nothing. I was off on an island in the Caribbean because I was embarrassed. Had no idea that people would even like it. It was the first time I was on television not being a comedian, not being an actor, not being a character, just being me. And I thought, it's just nothing, and I'm going to be embarrassed, and it's going to be the nail in the coffin of my career. And when I landed back in Miami, was the first place after Deal or No Deal. I was in the Caribbean. I got off the plane in Miami, and within 30 seconds, somebody looked at me and went, "Deal or no deal?" And all of a sudden, I had a catchphrase. And it was like every third person. I went, "What the hell is this? What is this?" And
also,
it blew me back up again.
The irony of your wife telling you to take the deal is insane to me. You said that, and you blew my mind.
Yes.
You literally blew my mind, and then I'm like, oh my God. And then the fact that because it does, look, I have OCD too, and when you said I flew out of the country to a place with no TV so I didn't have to deal with it, I did feel the relief in you saying that. I just want to let you know, when you said that, I was like, fly away, don't watch it. But man, what a great story.
And then Howie, I heard you in an interview about Deal or No Deal where at the beginning you were really careful. You realized the power of the host of that show in phrasing whether they wanted to take the deal or no deal because you didn't want to skew or have them lean one way or the other.
Well, that was the whole thing. That's why I was embarrassed, because when I finally said, yes, I'll take the deal, I prepared myself to be really funny and silly and be a game show host like you never saw before. And then when I was standing within 2 feet of a person whose life would be drastically changed with just even and I'm using the word loosely, even $20,000. $20,000 is a lot of money. I've worked all my life. I started with paper routes. My minimum wage was $1.35 when I started working. I understand what a dollar is. And when I'll still remember, I did 500 episodes. The first contestant is a woman by the name of Karen Van, who had 3 children, had never owned a home, didn't have health insurance, and the first offer was something like $15,000 to $20,000, and she looked so distracted just by being on a game show, all the cameras, all the noise I was making, and just without any thought went, no deal. And I kept thinking, I understand money. $15,000, you can insure your family. $15,000, she didn't live in L.A. or New York. You could probably put a down payment and own a house for the first time. Yeah. So then I didn't want to be responsible for somebody making a bad decision. I didn't want to be a distraction. So I started talking to people. I threw everything by the wayside and just looked at them in their eyes. And I would go, Karen Van, the offer is $15,000. Like I would talk to my 5-year-old. $15,000 is probably $15,000 more than you have in the bank. It's $15,000 more than you made this year. If you say no deal, you have to open up another 5 cases for a chance at $1 million, as opposed to a guarantee of $15,000. And they used to flash Howie stop because they thought I was trying to persuade somebody. Yeah. I just wanted somebody to leave in a better position than they came, and I didn't want to be responsible for them to leave in a bad position because I was so entertaining.
Which also endeared you more to people.
Yes.
Like we noticed, now that you're explaining this, my dad and I love this show, and we loved you on it, and when we watched it, I would think to myself, oh, he's doing something. Look at him. Look what he's doing here. He's helping this.
It's real.
We knew what you were doing, and you're a good person for doing it.
Right. I'd go, what's the strategy? They'd go, my mother's birthday is on the 7th. I'm just going to open the odd numbers. You have this. There's nobody knows what's in the case. It's random. It's just luck. And it's really hard for me. Listen, I play Vegas all the time and all these casinos. I don't even play blackjack. I can't gamble. I can't give away. And I do well. But it bothers me. If I lost $100, and I got nothing for it, I'd rather buy a little ball of lint for $100. At least I got something.
Right.
So, these people would play, and then they'd think they were, they'd be offered $50,000, and they go, listen, I didn't have the chance. I'm going to throw away this chance at $50,000. It killed me. The skill as the host of Deal or No Deal was just not to throttle somebody, to say, take the deal, you dummy.
Yeah.
You need this.
And last question, Howie. How does it feel co-hosting a podcast with your daughter? Is it
the best?
Is there any negative things that came about that you didn't foresee happening?
Zero.
Okay.
Zero. She might tell you different. I embarrass her, and it is cringeworthy at times. But the thing I love most and I'm most proud of all these things are my kids and my grandkids. And the fact that I'm sitting here in a building and that my son basically built. He's technically versed and is a broadcaster and has his own YouTube channels and is responsible for a lot of the things that you see on YouTube and produces a bunch of other podcasts for people that aren't me. He's worked with Logan and Jake Paul, and he works with Jason Alexander, and he produces Billy Bush's new show, and he produces a whole bunch of more than I could even mention here. The Girls Next Door with Playboy, and he turns on the lights. He turns on the lights for me, and runs my show and produces it. So and then I get to sit with my daughter, one of my daughters, and do that. I have another daughter that has no desire to be on camera. She's not even in her own wedding album.
Some
people are like that, and that's okay. Not everybody wants to be out there. Some people want to be behind the scenes, and that's fine.
Yeah, but you're an inspiration to a lot of dads out there like us. The fact that now, as you have adult children that you still work with, you hang out with, you have a great relationship with. You've been an entertainer for 40 years. You managed to raise great people,
and you're still doing it at a very, very high level.
It's impressive.
We look forward to you coming to Florida.
All right. Well, hope to see you all there.
Yeah, man. And
thank you so much for your time.
You got it, Howie. Thanks so much, man. We appreciate the time.
Bye.
Oh, okay. That was weird. Okay, we did not stick the landing. We never stick the landing.
We drawled it on too long.
I think we went on too long. He's like, well, I gotta get the hell out of here.
It was too famous for we
Howie
almost got 30.
HowieMandel.com. HowieMandel.com for all of. He's got 5 dates. He's got Clearwater, Orlando. The Clearwater will be updated until May. You got Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Melbourne, Sumterville, and Orange Park.
But me and Daniel were talking about it. It's impressive. But also, think about it. He's not. He's pushing past the uncomfortability.
He's 70 years old. Is the first thing I want to say. You don't say that when the person's on the line.
But he's pushing past the uncomfortability he obviously has with germs and OCD, and so he travels. He gets on an airplane, travels through airports,
first class. You think?
Does live shows with tons of people who know. Yeah. He's so recognizable that he can't go anywhere without people. At least everybody goes for the handshake. I've met Howie. He's come to the radio station. We both have.
Yeah, we've met him
back in the day, and it's he doesn't like to shake hands, fist bump.
What he normally does is he make you grab his zipper and just go up and down with it really fast till it makes a noise like zicky.
What's funny is back pre social media and stuff. That's when I met Howie probably in 2005 or 6 or something. It's funny because the legend is Howie Mandel, he's crazy, he's OCD, a germaphobe,
he can't even breathe the air.
And then if you look at his life and career, he's the most well-rounded family man. You know what I'm saying?
We didn't talk about it. He's been married
and hardworking man.
How many years did you say?
Oh, I think he married his wife in 1980 or something. So he's been married almost 45 years. Oh, 45 years.
And he addressed some stuff that he gets some flack for, like cringeworthy stuff and this that. If you're okay with it,
okay, let's talk about this.
Yeah,
because he's off the line. He'll never listen to this.
No.
So the Dana White thing,
I was ready to pull the trigger on that. You saw that.
I didn't want to make it uncomfortable, but
I wanted to get 30 minutes out of him, and we did.
And Dana White said that it was fake.
Yes.
So that
lied to us. Howie, you think he's an entertainer. You think we're a couple of goddamn idiots, Howie? Hold on a second.
No.
You think we're some country Florida bumpkins? Hold on a second. You got another thing coming, Jack.
And so that is what makes me lean towards the Bill Burr thing was all planned.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you watch it, it looks real.
Once he lied to me and said, hey, Dana White stormed off. But he said Dana White stormed off. He didn't say it was real.
Yeah, you're right. But he alluded to it as real. But then if you...
Oh, man. But I did want to pull the trigger. In one of us, we were thinking of a way to do it. I don't want you guys to think that we didn't want to ask him that.
Well, he's not. Well,
but our goal is to get as much Howie time for you guys as humanly possible. We didn't even know we were going to have him until yesterday afternoon. Thank you, Bill, for setting that up.
It's not. I'm not it's like asking a wrestler if it's real or not. Like I refrain from asking hosts, especially like podcasts or radio hosts, whether bits are real, because I know the deal. Like, you know, stuff like so.
Except those podcasters we had on that pretend like they're stealing your podcast. You didn't play along with those guys.
Well, only famous people.
You thought they're idiots.
So that Dana White thing that Daniel plays the audio.
No, I pulled it. Now I play the legal lady.
No, okay.
Like but I used to play at the end of our shows.
But so then when we found Dana White said on another show that was like fake, and Howie's like, hey, do you want to come and storm off my, so Dana White's like basically admitted that it was fake.
Dana White's down for whatever. Also part of our government's cabinet.
So then I look at Bill Burr's like the whole thing where he brings in Billy Corgan, and Bill Burr seems to legitimately get upset, right? And it's awkward.
Yeah, it is awkward.
Now Bill Burr's a really good actor. So when I look at him, I'm like, this is real. But then I'm like, I got to remind myself, Bill Burr is a great actor. And then Billy Corgan, I look at his face, and I'm like, oh, Billy Corgan's really uncomfortable here.
Isn't Bill Burr going to be Glenn Ross on Broadway? He's going to be playing Ed Asner's character on Broadway.
So if you look at it on YouTube, you're like, God, it damn sure seems real, and the uncomfortability seems real. Then Howie makes a joke, which brings me back to it being fake.
I didn't think about that. You pointed that out to me.
So at one point, Bill Burr says to Billy Corgan, like, I like your music, though, because he's kind of saying, like, why did you do this? Why did you talk about this? Realize how many questions this already, like, didn't you realize? Because Billy Corgan brought up the legend that they may be brothers on Howie Mandel's show.
But I don't even think that's real. The legend part?
Yeah, that could be fake.
Let me give you a little more fuel for your fire from our good friend Ghost of Manu Bull. He says Billy Corgan owns, and I knew this, but Billy Corgan, the guitar player, lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins, owns NWA Wrestling, so he's down for a good, quote, work as well. I bet it's fake. Yeah, Billy Corgan has been like a wrestling manager for wrestling. He's down for what? He was at Mike Busey's house 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Let me not remind. Yeah, remember that?
Why was it? We never asked Busey what he was doing there.
Because I was so afraid he was going to say that it was like Dana White. It was fake.
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
He was filming something. I don't know. I was like, what the hell is he filming?
I have no idea why we didn't ask him that.
So there's a point where Bill Burr says to Billy Corgan, like, I do like your music, though. And Billy Corgan's like, thanks. And then there's just a funny joke, by the way. Howie says, like, oh, well, Bill, maybe you could play drums with Billy one day. He said, maybe you could play drums with your brother one day. And then, but it was just right after an uncomfortable moment. So then I was like, oh, it's fake. Like, all this, they all knew what was going to happen. And then Bill Burr's smart enough to realize, like, by continuing the ruse and
went on other people's shows
and saying how he hates Howie for doing that, that will give Howie, that's a present to Howie.
It made the front page of the New York Post.
Yeah, he knows just by saying some words that he can help Howie Mandel out with giving publicity to his podcast by a lot. But then again, there's a chance that it's fake, or a chance that it is real, and that Howie Mandel didn't tell him, and he really did get mad.
I think they're all fake. I think Howie is I think he's a grade A. What he's got in him that we don't really have much anymore, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit. You kind of mentioned it to him. Because it takes a lot, really, for you to tell somebody, a guest that we have on our air, that, hey, you're an inspiration, or I like what you're doing, like a lot, you're hard to move the needle for. And that guy has got that old school entertainment Hollywood workaholic vibe, and that's gone. There's not. Mr. Beast has it. He's just in the new media. But that like addicted to doing it.
The drive. Yeah. He's addicted to the art of stand-up, obviously, because again, he does really not like germs, and he's flying to Florida, which is not the most don't like germs friendly place.
No, we're pretty German. I think we're pretty German. We're
Look what we did. Like, we barely got us to wear a mask into Publix. Other than that, we were like, no deal with nothing.
Even that, we did it for like a week.
And then outside of the metropolitan areas, they did nothing. I saw it during mid-COVID.
Oh, yeah.
I went to down Minnesota Key and went to a breakfast diner, and it was no one's mask.
My God, it's like stepping back into 1951.
Well, no, I was like, this is like 2019. But so he's flying to Florida doing shows and in airports or whatever, and he doesn't need the money. He's doing it for the love of stand-up. But he also could do stand-up at his own where he lives. You know what I'm saying? If he just wanted to just do stand-up, think about what
he's a Las Vegas guy?
I don't know where he lives.
I think he's a Vegas guy.
But wherever he lives, he could sell out any theater he wants in his hometown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He could probably have a residency if he wanted it. Right?
Oh, yeah, over and over.
I was trying to remember. Was Howie Mandel the one that put the condom on his head and blew it up? Or the rubber glove on his head?
Yeah, rubber glove. Yeah.
Okay, my dad thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was peak comedy for my dad. Blowing the rubber glove up on his head.
He's also really good at social media, which tells me like he likes entertaining.
Yeah.
And like
that's old school, man.
And it's not like I think some of the old school entertainers were like that. Or he's just addicted to entertaining.
What I'm talking about are like Fred Astaire, was a dancer, right? And he would dance. There's nothing he was going to do other than that. He's an entertainer, right? Like Howie is a pure entertainer.
You know, the personality kind of reminds me of Jeff Howe in the fact that Jeff Howe will, in a normal conversation, he will try his hardest to make a joke out of everything.
Of everything.
And
I love it.
And I don't know.
It can be annoying to other people.
Yeah. But
I love it.
I think that's like Howie when I was talking to his brain. Like he tries to.
Do I have a little bit of that with my chirping?
Yeah.
And constantly doing little jokes and little. Little things here and there and the other.
Yeah. But yours is more annoying for some reason.
Not as funny. Not as funny.
But Howie does it.
But the way Howie does it great.
No.
I noticed that.
Listen, if I was around Howie Mandel or Jeff Howe for that long, I'd be like, oh my God, just take something seriously. Just put your head down and just write some numbers.
It's so hard for me to take things seriously.
Yeah. No, but I don't think your brain's not wired that way. So, and I don't think Howie's brain's wired that way or Jeff Howe. It's like. And those are fascinating entertainers to me because, again, this guy could easily never be around another germ ever and in his life. You know what I'm saying? And he chooses the entertainment route, which has got to be uncomfortable.
He also he's doing something right now that a lot of old men, especially when they go bald and have facial hair, have to choose, and it's a dangerous game to play. And it's the game of the colored glasses.
Yeah, he's a big color. Yeah,
when you get older, man or woman, this is not a gender-specific observation. Man or woman, as you get older and you shave your head, or ladies, if you get gray hair or old gray witch hair like my wife's going to have, there will come a time when my wife, Andrea, will have long gray witch hair, and she'll have to decide what color novelty colored glasses she will wear to accentuate her odd gray hair. And for me, if I had to shave my head, the only problem with Jim Colbert, and you could say shots fired,
colored tiny round glasses.
You could say shot fired if you want to, whatever you want to say, but Jimmy could take his look from zero to hero in one pair of novelty colored glasses.
And a psychedelic top hat.
Psychedelic top hat is fantastic. If you're on a chef show and you're a morbidly obese judge and you have a bald head, you're going to wear a bow tie and novelty colored glasses. If you're on a music show and you're a fat guy and you're going to sing, if you're on the one where they hit the button, they turn around, the voice, put on a pair of novelty colored glasses. Sally Jesse Raphael, red novelty colored glasses. Anyone that's bald that works in entertainment, you got to go with the colored framed glasses.
Here's a question we didn't get to ask him, but I wanted to know, because this guy can get up on stage. I believe even if he didn't do his bit, he could get up on stage and for an hour improv a funny show, right? Howie Mandel.
Well, he would think it's funny. Not everybody.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
May not be as good as what he's going to do because it's planned out, but I think he has the chops to. He does a lot of crowd work, and he says he likes that the best. Yeah. And he's funny. He's fast. Anyway, so you get put on a show like America's Got Talent where you only get one or two lines every 11 minutes. You
well,
know,
they cut a lot of it out.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of talking, but you're only going to get the best things. Or if you faint, or if you crap your pants, they'll put that in.
But there's 4 judges, and then with all the show and Terry Crews and stuff, like Howie Mandel doesn't get to do that much, right?
Yeah.
So and they don't even need him to. So it's like it's a great gig because you sit back and you just have to do one liner, right?
Watch a bunch of stuff. You drink some Coca-Cola.
But that must be hard for him because he could do it himself. Because he wants to be funny. You see what I'm saying? He has to hold back.
Also, it's the way it's cut. I feel like they're sitting in that chair for like 18-hour days.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like I'd rather throw sod. Like, seriously, because at least I'm up and down moving. I'm in the sunshine.
Yeah.
I can go get a Gatorade.
It's makeup, and then it's
It's also 60 degrees inside.
Yeah. It's a lot of waiting.
They're like, oh, the Jabberwockies, one of their masks fell off. We got to cut that again. Let's do the intro again. All right, places, everyone.
We're going to clean up the foam from the mad scientist, and then there's that's a half an hour. Then and then there's union breaks. You know, it's a insane long 14-hour day.
It sounds terrible to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like I would way hate it.
But then $1 million paycheck. Yeah. So it's like for that amount of money, you do it. But
what a nice guy though. And I'm glad that we chose right, because I like to give you guys the behind the scenes with the interviews that we do, and I think we chose right in not letting him know that we know the Dana White thing is fake, because it gave us like 10 more minutes of Howie.
Yeah.
You know, who cares if he's lying to us? He don't know us. He don't know who we are.
Yeah. And
if you were my friend, I would feel insulted. Like if this were the second or third call.
Yeah.
I'd be a little offended.
Well, that's what sucks about the internet. Like, remember old radio days? There was no way to find if something was fake or not.
Yeah, so you can make all the stupid people listening to you believe it too.
Yeah, you're riding a train or whatever. But there was no way to look it up. And so now, except for the Bill Burr thing, no one has. There's speculation, but Bill Burr hasn't admitted it. Oh, Corrigan or Howie, no one said.
No.
Dana White, because
but Dana White's
dumb. He just said, "Oh, it's fake."
It's fake. He fake it. He walk off. Me no. Me get told what to do. Me walk off.
If he told me to slap my wife, I'd do that too.
I'm on Trump cabinet.
All right.
Should we get out of here?
Yeah, let's get out of here. HowieMandel.com for tickets.
Yeah. Snag your tickets. And again, thanks to our friend Bill for setting that up. Appreciate you.
Yeah, we will see you tomorrow.
Awesome. All right. Nice job, buddy. That was really good.
Yeah.
He was great.
It was good.
Thursday, right?
Thursday, 1 and 2, yeah.
Okay, and that's it for today, right? Are we doing anything else? 2, 27, 25, audio.
And we could do a...
2, 27, 25. Oh, we just gotta do the intro.